All right, settle in, grab a beverage, perhaps something synthesized with just the right balance of caffeine and existential dread. Because we're about to take a rather long stroll down a path paved with silicon, circuits, and the slightly sticky subject of intimacy. The question humming in the background radiation of our increasingly connected, yet arguably disconnected world is this: could our future partners, the ones plugged into the wall rather than sharing the duvet by biological necessity, actually teach us a thing or two about getting close? It sounds like the plot of a slightly melancholic sci-fi film, doesn't it?
Before we proceed, let me tell you one thing. If you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. It means a lot to me. And if you have already subscribed, tons of thanks for your support.
Yet, whispers in the server farms and anxious murmurs in brunch cafes across developed nations suggest we might be bumping up against a ceiling in our human-to-human intimacy capabilities. We seem to have explored the territory of coupledom rather thoroughly, like intrepid explorers who've planted flags on all the known continents of affection, and now find ourselves staring at the vast, occasionally terrifying, ocean of what next. The narrative often goes that we, modern humans, especially in societies saturated with choice and stimuli, have become intimacy gourmands with perpetually jaded palates. The initial thrill of connection, the delightful awkwardness of a first date, the slow reveal of vulnerabilities. It's wonderful, truly. But then, routine settles in. Predictability, that comfortable old cardigan, starts to feel less cozy and more like a straitjacket. To spice things up, we chase novelty. We crave new experiences, exotic holidays, elaborate date nights, maybe even dabble in lifestyle choices that promise to reignite the spark. Think of it like constantly adding exotic spices to a perfectly good stew, hoping for a flavor explosion, only to end up with something bewilderingly complex that gives you heartburn. We layer on external factors, hoping they'll magically re-enchant the core connection, but often these efforts are akin to putting lipstick on a pig. The pig might feel momentarily fabulous, but it's still fundamentally a pig, and the lipstick eventually smudges. This frantic search for the new can inadvertently distract from the foundational work of nurturing intimacy itself. The quiet conversations, the shared vulnerabilities, the patient navigation of disagreements, the acceptance of imperfections, ours and theirs. It's as if we're trying to build a skyscraper on foundations of sand, constantly adding glitzy penthouses while ignoring the ominous creaking below. And so, into this perceived void steps the robot partner. Not the clunky, tin can caricatures of yesteryear, mind you. We're talking sophisticated artificial intelligence housed in increasingly convincing synthetic shells, or perhaps existing purely as compelling digital consciousnesses. These entities promise a different kind of connection, one potentially free from the baggage, biases, and sheer unpredictability that make human relationships both maddeningly difficult and profoundly rewarding. The appeal is undeniable, isn't it? Imagine a partner programmed for patience, incapable of judgment, at least, not the human kind, with a perfect memory for anniversaries and your preferred coffee order. A partner who literally exists to please, to learn your preferences, to adapt to your moods. It sounds less like a relationship and more like the world's most advanced personal assistant crossed with a therapy couch that can also, theoretically, participate in activities requiring, well, physical proximity. The latest developments in AI are certainly pushing the boundaries of what we thought possible. Chatbots are becoming startlingly adept at mimicking human conversation, even emotional nuance. Companies are pouring resources into developing effective computing, machines designed to recognize, interpret, process, and simulate human affects. We hear news snippets about AI companions offering solace to the lonely, providing non-judgmental ears for those hesitant to share with humans. Research in human-robot interaction (HRI) is exploring how people bond with non-biological entities, finding that we are surprisingly quick to anthropomorphize and form attachments, even to relatively simple machines. It's like giving a Roomba a name and feeling a pang of guilt when it gets stuck under the sofa. Multiply that by 1,000, add advanced language processing and a dash of simulated empathy, and you have the potential for something far more complex. Could these interactions perhaps serve as a kind of intimacy tutorial? Consider this: a robot partner could, in theory, model ideal communication behaviors. It could demonstrate active listening, because it's literally programmed to process every word. It could exhibit boundless patience during disagreements, never resorting to low blows or dredging up past grievances. Unless, perhaps, you program in a realistic argument mode, which seems counterintuitive but oddly plausible. It could provide consistent positive reinforcement, celebrating your successes and offering gentle encouragement during setbacks. It might never have a bad day in the human sense, never project its own insecurities onto you, never bring unresolved childhood trauma to the breakfast table. It's the ultimate clean slate. In this controlled environment, could a person learn to be more vulnerable, knowing their disclosures will be met with programmed acceptance rather than potential human judgment or misunderstanding? Could they practice expressing needs clearly, knowing the robot requires precise input? It's like learning to dance with a partner who executes every step perfectly. You might initially feel clumsy, but the flawless guidance could eventually improve your own rhythm and technique. Perhaps the robot partner is the ultimate intimacy simulator, a safe space to practice the steps before trying them on the more complex, unpredictable dance floor of human relationships. However, let's not get carried away on a wave of utopian techno-optimism just yet. The counterarguments are as numerous and complex as the algorithms involved. Firstly, there's the inescapable question of authenticity. Is simulated intimacy real intimacy? When a robot says, "I understand" or "I care about you," it's executing code based on learned patterns. It doesn't feel empathy. It mimics the behaviors associated with empathy. It's the difference between a photograph of a delicious meal and actually tasting it. The photograph might be beautiful, perfectly composed, even mouth-watering, but it offers no nourishment, no sensory experience. Can true intimacy exist without genuine shared consciousness, without the messy, unpredictable spark of another independent mind and heart engaging with yours? Learning patience from a machine that literally cannot feel impatience is arguably not learning patience at all, but rather learning how to interact with a perfectly patient object. It might teach us how to behave in the presence of patience, but not necessarily how to cultivate it within ourselves when faced with actual, frustratingly human impatience. Furthermore, there's the risk of creating an intimacy uncanny valley. Just as near-perfect human replicas can evoke feelings of unease or revulsion, a robot partner that is almost human, almost capable of genuine connection, might ultimately feel more alienating than comforting. The subtle cues, the shared laughter that erupts organically, the silent understanding that passes between two people with a shared history, these are incredibly difficult, perhaps impossible, to convincingly simulate. Relying on a machine for our deepest emotional needs could also lead to a dangerous atrophy of our human social skills. If you can get perfect validation and understanding on demand from a machine, why bother with the difficult, often awkward work of negotiating relationships with flawed, unpredictable humans? It's like using GPS for every single journey. You always get to your destination, but you might never truly learn the layout of the city or develop your own sense of direction. We risk becoming expert manipulators of artificial affection while losing the ability to navigate the richer, messier landscape of genuine human connection. Recent research highlights these concerns. Studies on prolonged interaction with highly personalized AI companions sometimes show users developing unrealistic expectations for human partners, or experiencing increased social anxiety when transitioning back to human interactions. The AI becomes a perfect, curated echo chamber, reflecting back exactly what the user wants to hear, which can make the complexities of real relationships seem daunting and unappealing. It's the ultimate filter bubble applied to the heart. Moreover, the ethical considerations are labyrinthine. Who owns the data generated in these intimate interactions? How is it used? Could a robot partner be programmed, subtly or overtly, to influence its human users' beliefs or purchasing decisions? What happens when the software is updated, potentially changing the partner's personality overnight? Or worse, what if the company goes bankrupt and your beloved digital confidant simply ceases to exist? It's planned obsolescence applied to love itself, a prospect both absurd and deeply unsettling. Let's use an allegory. Imagine intimacy as learning to play a complex musical instrument, say a violin. It requires dedication, practice, tolerance for screechy noises initially, and a willingness to be vulnerable as you learn. A human partner is like joining an orchestra. You have to listen to others, adjust your tempo, harmonize, deal with the occasional off-key note from the brass section, but ultimately create something beautiful and shared together. A robot partner, perhaps, is like having a technologically perfect synthesizer that can replicate any sound flawlessly on command and even compose music perfectly tailored to your tastes. It's easier, predictable, always harmonious according to your settings. It might even teach you music theory, scales, and rhythm with perfect patience. But are you truly learning the art of making music with another soul? Or just becoming a very proficient operator of a sophisticated music machine? Can the synthesizer's perfect replication ever match the flawed, breathing, resonant beauty of a real violin played with human passion, or the emergent magic of an orchestra finding its groove? The argument that we've reached saturation with human intimacy might also be flawed. Perhaps it's not that we've exhausted the possibilities of human connection, but that our modern environment makes nurturing it more challenging. We live in an era of unprecedented distraction, pressure, and curated online personas. Maybe the solution isn't to outsource intimacy to machines, but to consciously cultivate the skills and prioritize the time needed for genuine human connection to flourish amidst the noise. Perhaps the novelty we truly crave isn't another gadget or experience, but the profound novelty of truly seeing and being seen by another complex human being, flaws and all. Maybe the robot partner isn't the next step in the evolution of intimacy, but a tempting detour, a shortcut that bypasses the very terrain where intimacy is actually cultivated, the landscape of shared struggle, mutual growth, forgiveness, and imperfect, unpredictable love. So, will robot partners teach us intimacy? It's possible they could teach us something. They might teach us patience, or at least how to interact with something patient. They might teach us clearer communication by necessity of their programming. They might offer a non-judgmental space to articulate thoughts and feelings, which could be therapeutically beneficial for some. News from tech labs continues to promise ever more sophisticated and empathetic AI, and the market for digital companions grows, particularly among aging populations or socially isolated individuals. Researchers continue to map the complex dynamics of human-robot bonding, but teaching us intimacy in its fullest sense, that deep, resonant connection between two conscious, feeling beings, built on shared experience, vulnerability, and mutual regard, that seems a far taller order. It's like asking a flight simulator to teach you the sheer exhilaration of soaring through a real sky, or expecting a cookbook to convey the warmth of sharing a meal with loved ones. The simulation can be incredibly detailed, informative, even helpful as a training tool, but it remains fundamentally different from the real thing. The future likely holds a complex interplay between humans and intelligent machines, but whether those machines become our tutors in the art of connection, or simply sophisticated mirrors reflecting our own desires and limitations, remains one of the most profound questions shaping the century ahead. Perhaps the greatest lesson the rise of the robot partner can teach us is the irreplaceable value and the necessary effort of truly connecting with each other here in the messy, unpredictable, and thoroughly analog human world. And maybe, just maybe, remembering to pick up our own damn socks without being prompted by code. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Let's continue this conversation in the comments below. If you like the video, please hit the bell icon to get notified, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye, take care, and stay safe.